Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Shawn.
Hope everybody's had a relaxing day.
Real relaxed.
And
Speaking for me.
yeah, I had to run to Walmart and O'Reilly's, and still it did me no good. I have to go online and order the stuff, so just to save a few bucks. No, I've been preaching a lot on reaching out to people and spreading the word of God, love, passion. But I want us to know what we need to, when we find people that are lost, what to help say to them, to try to help find God as well. And if you look for me on 1 Chronicles, 1 Chronicles chapter 16. Yes. 1 Chronicles 16, verse 10. It says, let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. Seek the Lord and his strength. Seek his presence continually. Remember the wondrous works that he has done, his miracle and the judgments he uttered. He is the Lord our God. Now, I know that might not be the easiest one to find, but I like this right here where it says the miracles, or remember the wondrous works that he has done. This is something I had a problem with. My dad, he wasn't atheist or anything like that. He just really didn't believe in God. And I mean, we never had a real good discussion about religion because he was set in his way. And so what I'd do is I would think of things that, because the world, by science, everything's supposed to be made by chance of this, chance of that. And so I'd see things like, they talk about the Grand Canyon being carved out over millions and millions of years. Anybody that's ever been to the Grand Canyon before, this is my opinion. You can obviously see where God stuck his hands down in the Grand Canyon and pulled it out, because there's mountains all around the Grand Canyon. And where did the mountains come from beside them? And the way I can prove that too is that it wasn't carved that way. Is answer me this: Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls has so many billions of gallons of water every minute fall over it. And look, it ain't no canyon. There's no canyon to it. And that's got a way bigger river than the Colorado River. But I'm not just going to throw out science or anything like that. But this is things I want you, if you come across somebody and they want signs or something that other than just the Bible. Because like the other day I was walking out to the mailbox, and I found a bird nest that had fallen from a tree and was laying on the ground. Have you ever grabbed a bird nest and held one in your hand? Them things are well constructed. They are tightly made. I mean, they're dirt compacted. And for the fact that God gave his creation the ability to make this type of stuff, to protect their young, to keep them warm and everything else, and they just do it. They don't have a manual. They don't have blueprints. I mean, I can't even assemble something from Walmart. I mean, one night I got a cabin at the entertainment center, and I was smacking this bad boy together. 2 hours into it, I realized that I had C in backwards. C was the first part I started with. So guess what I had to do? I had to deassemble everything and start over and flip C over the other way. And that had instructions right there. And these animals are able to do this on God's whim. God told them they know. And that's like us. We know he's there. We can feel him. And we know we have these two voices inside of our head. There's always two voices. One saying good one's saying bad. So anybody that stops and listens to their own mind, and this is something I'm not telling you to think about or to read, just close your eyes and sit there for a minute, and you can hear them voices talking to you. One's telling the other, and it's like, okay, how can you not believe there's a God when you have one that's telling you this, and one that's telling you opposite what, they're not corresponding with each other, they're different opinions. And ones have always telling you bad stuff too. And I learned this as a kid, not to listen to that voice very much, because Granny and her water hose, she'd teach you otherwise. She'd catch you playing with matches. Matches were cool. I wanted to have the burning bush. I wanted to be like Moses and come up with, no, I playing with matches, and Granny caught me, and all I got was a water hose. And, but anywho, I'll get back to my message. Also, too, I want y'all to look into Matthew chapter 7. Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 and 8. And here it says, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and then the one who seeks finds. And then to the one who knocks, it will be opened. Now, what does that sound like to you? To me, it sounds like if you ask, you're going to receive it. Whether it be it might not exactly be what you want. You might want a brand new car and you wind up with a brand new pair of sneakers, but you're still able to walk from place to place. There's people that would love to have that going on in their life. But also, too, it says, seek and you will find. And that's what most of us need to do, is when we seek something, instead of, us figuring it out, go to God and let God figure it out, because God will put it in His hands. And that was something, the discussion I told y'all earlier this morning about discussion me and my wife had on the way home. That's talking about, trusting in the Lord. And it's something that, it's like, without God, I drove myself crazy. I got my son. My oldest son climbs 300 feet up in the air to work on these wind turbines. He shows me pictures where his feet's hanging off the side of him. He's just showing nothing but earth around him. And I'm like, why do you do this to me? I know why, because I said that. Why do you do this to me? So he does it. And I know he's harnessed off. I know he's not no dummy. I hope not. But the work he does, the travel he does, and I have to put all that into God's trust. Because there's times he'll leave, and I'm like, and you get that voice, like, this is the last time I see him, is this the last time I see him, and it'll work at you, because the enemy will start making you try to feel guilty. And he wants you to deny that trust in God, and that's why I trust in God. And that's why I want the people I talk to, I want to be able to tell them how God relaxes me. And that's what I was telling Jennifer. This is how I would trust in God. This is my comfort zone. If I didn't have him, I would worry myself to death about my son. But I don't, because I put him in God's hand, because God has a plan for him just like he does everyone. He has a plan for all of us. And he won't pull us away from this earth until that plan is fulfilled. And once our plan is fulfilled, he calls us home. And that's where I trust him, and that's why I try to tell people, I want people to know about myself. This is some of the benefits that I get from God by trusting in him. And I want people that I say that might not know the Bible to learn. If you want trust and you want the ability to lay it out there and not worry. Because worrying, that's what all the people growing up when I was a kid, they said, man, you got so much gray hair at 40 years old, you must worry a lot. You know, that's what my mom used to blame us. She'd say, you see these gray hairs? This is from worrying about y'all kids. You know, and I'm like, well, Mom, if I'd have been smarter then, I'd say, hey, you know, trust in God. You know, seeking God and look for Him. And when you knock, He'll open that door. And that's something that we all need to cherish and love about God is the fact that the peace of mind that He can give us easily. It's just, I know I wasn't here for Danny's message, but I had some of the people give me some ideas of it. I think a lot of it was to trust in God and give it to God and don't take it back. And that's something I try to do when I give it to God. Like I say, my son, I give it to God, and then when I start that enemy's chipping away at me, saying, hey, he's going to have a wreck. He's going to have a wreck. You know, I'm going to say, you know what? Get out of my head, enemy. Because you're the devil and you're a liar. That's all you are. You're just straight up liar, and I shouldn't believe anything you say. You're trying to get me to doubt my God. And I'm not going to doubt my God. I love my God, and I trust my God. And that's the reason I personally feel comfortable and relaxed when I pray and I trust in God. And it's something I don't pull back from Him because I put it in His hands and I leave it there. And I think that's because it's called faith. We trust God and we have to have faith in God. We can't physically see us laying it in His hand, but we know where it's at. And as long as our heart's there, we know that feeling and we can trust that and learn from it. I thank you all and I love y'all and thank you for listening to me.
Trust in the Lord. So many times we try to ask God for things and then He gives them to us, but we just won't accept them because Satan is telling us, no, it's not going to happen. We need to trust in the Lord. We need to have more trust. Our lives, our church needs to have more trust. We need to have more trust in our families and our brothers and sisters. We need to have that trust. If you're here today and you need to come, you can come. And Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for these that is here today, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for the faithful ones that come and worship you, Lord. And Lord, we ask you to give them a blessing. And Lord, we ask you to go with us as we go to our home. Go with us the next week, Lord. We ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen. You circle up now, we'll pray out.